was on, baby. I can tell you my love for you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, sit down, tune in, turn on. Time to get started here. I am Don Kaufman, and well, welcome everyone. Hey, chat in. Let us know you can hear us all right. You can see us all right. Excellent. Some of you guys are chatting in where you're joining us from too. I always appreciate that. We're broadcasting into a number of different rooms, so I'm just gonna give it a minute or two. I know I'm 2 minutes past the start time. Everybody just cut. So as I say, chat in where you guys joining us from. I'm always interested. I am live in Paradise Valley, which is a little town in Scottsdale, Arizona. Hopefully going back to the Virgin Islands here soon enough. I got to get out of here, man. There's people here. Nice, the Woodlands, Texas. There is some beautiful areas over there. Awesome. Mesa. I can almost see you from here. All right, cool. Durango. I've actually been up there a couple of times too. Um, yeah, excellent. So quite a number of people are tuning in right now, and give you guys a minute to do so. So this is your 30-second warning. Cedar City, Utah. It's cold up there. We have a number of people here at TheoAPPROVED that are obviously in the Utah area. By the way, I was in the pre-market here. I was, or just a moment before starting here, I was actually firing off a bunch of trades. Some of you actually saw it. I was doing my earnings flips. Okay, I've got earnings flips going in Rivian, earnings flips going in actually Celsius. As I'm drinking a Celsius too, so I'm trading another strategy, and I realized, and I'm like, I'm live right now. So some of you actually saw me firing off a couple trades in here. I had to get it done. I realized I was about to be live, and then I was like, "Oh no, I got to get these couple of trades done." So, without further ado, let's get started here. Trading strategy that survived our 9 month testing kind of gauntlet. My name is Don Kaufman. In a moment here, we're going to be joined by none other than Tony Rago. This is what we would call Theo approved. We're going to talk quite in depth about a specific trading strategy, of course, in the preceding hour here. So sit down again, kind of tune in, turn on, focus, people. You're going to need to because we're going to go through quite a bit. This is a risk disclosure. We are not financial advisors nor a broker dealer. And of course, I always bring this up because I did spend a big portion of my career inside of the brokerage side of the business. Tony Rago also had a number of licenses over a number of years. Both of us now are on the license side and thrilled that we are. A copyright disclaimer. This is ours. This is not yours. The other thing is, and I always like to make mention of this. Look, if you ever need to get a hold of me after today or Tony, just go to support@theotrade.com. We use a common inbox, and in the subject, just put your name. Put our name, I should say. Put Tony, put Don, and it'll go directly to us. So we use a common inbox though here at TheoTrade, and the reason we do that is then we can actually track the speed to which our emails are answered from our side. Meaning, we like to make sure that everybody gets their questions answered in a day or less. So email us if you ever need anything. Email us. We are here. We can definitely provide you guys some support there. Cold in Canada too. Okay, you might as well be in the North Pole, right? By the way, I don't want to make anybody a little jealous, but I think it's going to be about 75, 76 degrees here in Scottsdale today. It's getting a little warm this time of the year. Getting a little warm. It's February. All right, let's get right down to business and start talk trading. Okay, so at TheoTrade, every strategy that we embody here undergoes absolutely brutal testing gauntlet. That in that gauntlet is, people talk about like back testing and so forth. Look, okay, I'm not into it. I'm not into it. There's back testing, there's Monte Carlo models. Okay, trade it. Don't even bother talking to me until you've traded it. And what we're going to be discussing extensively in today's session is one of the most vetted strategies we have here at TheoTrade. So this gauntlet is multiple market conditions. Obviously, Okay, that's going to be critical. And stress testing against real world volatility. One great example of that right now would be some of the Trump tweets. Holy crap, the Trump administration and their tweeting over here, although it's kind of quieted down like a little bit this week, the last like 3 weeks has been like literally, I call it Mr. Toad's kind of wild ride in there. So again, going through a gauntlet and testing a strategy, it's got to be all real world, multiple market conditions, stress testing against real world volatility. The reality, most of the strategies that we see here, even internally, they fail. You guys never hear about that stuff either. Like when we have a strategy, we're like, oh yeah, man, this looks really good, and they fall flat on their face. And most of you that are with us right now, if you're brand new, maybe you don't know Theo Trade, but those of you that have actually had a little experience, you know some of the strategies that we use, okay, successfully day in and day out. The strategy we're going to talk about specifically today, this one has thrived, absolutely thrived. And now, okay, we're pulling back the curtain. The most recent strategy to pass Theo Trade's highest standard is ready to be unveiled. And why it matters? Because it's not theory, it's not gimmicky, okay? It's what we term Theo approved. And that terminology is something you're going to see quite a bit over here, something that's literally battle tested, strategy that's been battle tested time and again. Moreover, when we actually, boom, okay, like Theo approved, that's not, Don Kaufman putting an approval on it or one of our other instructors. That's clientele as well, that have actually traded the strategy and successfully traded the strategy in live market conditions for a considerable period of time. Here are some of the key standards for that. There's 5 key standards that you look for. So obviously consistency. Everybody's like, that's straightforward. Consistency, risk control, high probability trades, scalability, and ease of execution. But let's go through those in a bit more detail. And the reason I run through them just quickly is because you have to have a standardized metric system. You can't, alter based on strategy. So if I'm talking about a completely unique strategy, it still has to pass consistency. Is it consistent? Proven results across multiple market conditions. That's consistency, right? Risk control. Okay. What is risk control? So risk control for me personally, okay, that's up there as high as consistency. Like any one of these is critically important, but all right, scalability and so forth. But like risk control is absolutely freaking critical. You have to have built in safeguards, minimize downside risk. Okay. So mitigation of risk, and I say mitigation of risk, I don't want to use like any heavy terms over here, but mitigation of risk, okay, is kind of like job number one. We're not going to expose you to anything that's going to have, egregious amounts of risk. High probability trade. So, okay, not everything necessarily has to be a high probability trade, but it's a powerful edge, okay, with clear execution rules. When I think of like high probability trades, though, is the trades, okay, done over a larger number of trades, okay? So this larger subset of trades that you've done, okay, that you can actually see repeatable edge in that particular trade. That's what we would, distinctly, quantify as high probability trades. So something that can be looked at over a larger subset, okay, of trades. Scalability, okay? Scalability, what does that really mean? It means you can start with, really small amounts of capital and work your way up. There's no number that you're going to throw at me. People always ask this with different strategies. You say, oh, can I do this with a few $100? Absolutely. Can I do this with a few $1,000? Absolutely. Okay, you can have multi-million-dollar account and still be able to execute the strategy that we're going to be talking about. And the last portion of this, and something that's kind of near and dear to my heart, ease of execution. We say ease of execution. Look, executing. Execution is the point to which we stop talking about any theory, any of that crap, and actually, boom, can you actually execute? That's the clicking of the mouse, hitting confirm and send, and firing that trade off. No overcomplications in here. Look, you got to have a repeatable formula. You got to be able to execute. You got to be able to, what I term, pull the trigger, people. And ease of being able to pull the trigger is absolutely critical. And those are really kind of the 5 key, I say standards, but to me, it's more metric. And we run everything, including for those of you that are geeks, p-values on all our strategies and so forth, to check out like everything from risk control, ease of execution, consistency, all of it. Now, not every strategy makes that cut. this one absolutely did. It's Theo approved. So here's the deal. 9 months ago, we started out with this promise of potential for $620 a day from one ticker, okay, one trade, okay, every single, like literally one trade every week. And we've delivered upon that. Okay, so it's $620 delay delivered. And what you could have potentially banked if you've traded every setup over the past 9 months, which, by the way, we have many a client. Many of them are probably joining us in here right now, okay, that have traded with us for an extensive period of time here and over the last 9 months. So not only is this a strategy that we've used for years here at TheoTrade, but specifically, okay, we kind of set out this challenge 9 months ago and delivered upon that. And again, we're going to be discussing that in quite some extent. Look, 85 years young, learning new tricks. It's official. You succeeded in teaching an old dog new tricks. Okay. This filled a pressing need in my financial life. I'm so grateful to Almighty God for you and for all the new skills I've gained by applying the new knowledge you taught me. That comes from actually Rich C, age 85. And this is, this is why we do what we do. And this is really beginner friendly. And we're going to try to keep this straightforward as possible. So for the past 8 years here at TheoTrade, we've been refining, developing, okay, first of the kind trading setup. So you don't have to be tied to a monitor, okay? Needing to track a ton of stocks. You're not going to be tracking a ton of stocks. You're not going to need a huge amount of capital to get started. In fact, I'm going to mention that here momentarily. So that is a critical aspect because everybody's going to ask it, and I don't want to get bogged down in questions. The amount of capital, as I said, we're going to talk about momentarily. You're not going to track a lot of stocks. We're going to be looking at one ticker. Again, tied to your monitor? Absolutely not. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Tony Rago. So Tony is actually our senior market strategist here. Tony's actually our also what we term an intraday, and we're going to discuss this intraday trader. So he trades the E-mini NASDAQ, okay? And that's it. Like, I mean, yes, did he trade anything else? Like Tony, if hard pressed, if I asked you the question, do you trade anything else? Okay, you're going to trade some S&Ps probably once in a while, off the cuff. But
That's probably the extent of it. Yeah. Hey, look, I've been known to trade some Qs and some SPYs, kind of dovetailing on some of your strategies with options, but NASDAQ is where I live for sure.
and that's it's critical. And by the way, I always poke fun at Tony. I'm like, oh, it's one trick Tony because he literally trades like one product over here. But look, it's 20 plus years professional trading experience. But when I met Tony all the way back in 2016, the way I stalked Tony for a while. So my background was Thinkorswim TD Ameritrade, and coming out of TD Ameritrade, I already knew who Tony was. And when we built TheoTrade in 2016, Tony was one of the first kind of outsiders that we brought on. I already was stalking them. We made a couple of phone calls. We knew who was making money in futures contracts and so forth. It's pretty easy, by the way, when you work in the brokerage side of the business. You're literally like, who's Tony Rago? You go into the account, you look it up, you're like, hey, this guy actually makes money. By the way, yes, they really do that. You're not supposed to do that crap, but everybody does it. Everybody looks like if you work at a bank, you look at people's bank statements. Well, you work at a brokerage firm. Okay. I was a former market maker. I always looked at people's accounts. I was always interested. So we were stalking Tony for a long time, but Tony is going to take you through a strategy here momentarily, but again, providing actionable trade ideas for futures, both long and short throughout each trading day. And some of you have absolutely no idea what it even means to be futures or into futures. And I'm going to cover that a little bit before I turn it over to Tony. But look, bottom line, this is why you're here. We're going to give you a trading setup, okay, with an 80% success rate. We're going to talk to you about why trading the NQ is a perfect vehicle for generating daily income. And again, this is not going to be tied to your monitor all day. Yes, we're going to be trading NASDAQ. Yes, it's a futures contract. And some people, like when they hear the word futures, they're like, oh, but still my heart. And we're going to talk about that right now, that it's you can actually have like a training ground product, which I'll get to in a moment. Okay. How to get started and book your first profitable trade literally today. Okay. With this setup, you can potentially generate $620 every day, literally before lunch. Okay. We've just proved it over the past epic 9 months. And that's one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is this strategy was brought to people 9 months ago. Okay. And well, here it is. Tony, you speak to this for a moment.
Yeah. So over the last 9 months, this is a graph that shows from the beginning of when we launched the golden setup. And again, this is taken into consideration if you took every single setup based on the rules and the structure, everything that I teach. These are the results that came in, and we track these every single day. When you're part of this, you get to see that happen in real time as well. So these are all results from all of the setups that have, well, I mean, since May 20th up through November and into the new year, 2025. So we'll obviously have an update to that here real soon as well.
So this is what we term the golden setup, and this is the strategy that is now, Theo approved. Tony is going to be taking you through the golden setup momentarily. Look, boom, $620 from the golden setup. That's poolside trader. My goal is $620 a day, and after just 2 weeks, I've been consistently winning. That's from Henry L. in Marshall, Texas. That's golden, Tony. I just made $1,500 from Kevin M. Now, I actually want to cover this, and then I'm going to turn it over to Tony, and that's this. Look, why the NASDAQ? So CME Group and NASDAQ. One of the first things I want to mention is the CME Group. So the CME Group is who is responsible specifically, okay, for listing these futures contracts. Okay, one of the first things I want to mention about futures contracts is a lot of people, okay, they don't know anything about futures. Well, futures contracts, okay, do not have a day trading margin restriction. None whatsoever. So you never have to be worried about how much capital you have in your account. And I like to start with that, okay? Because people constantly get bogged down in, do I have to have a lot of capital in my account? Of course not, okay? You can have nominal amounts of capital in your account to be able to trade this product. The futures contract trades like anything else. What can you do with it? You can buy it and sell it. Like people get very, very caught up in the idea, it's a futures contract and it's something in the future. It's the here and now, and you can buy it and you can sell it. Okay, it's a CME product, and it's kind of cool because again, it doesn't relate to the day trading margin requirement. You can have a few $100s in your account. I say a few $100. How is that possible? How is that even plausible that you could have a few $100s in your account and trade this? Okay, it's because they actually have micro contracts, like the training ground for this. So we're going to talk about Tony actually trades NQ, but there's also MNQ, which is a micro, which is for literally, okay, a few bucks in the account, like a few $100, you can trade micros. And there's no, I mean, as I said, it's the training ground. So if you're worried about risk and you want to start really, really small, there's nothing better, okay, than some of these CME Group products. Now, here at TheoTrade, we're actually in marketing relationships with CME Group. Okay, there's really no other education firms that you're going to come across that have marketing relationships with major exchanges. The CME Group has even come out and sponsored a couple of little live events that we've done over the years. So we're really, really close to them. In fact, we even help specifically myself, okay, develop products with the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Today, okay, specifically, we're going to be talking about NASDAQ futures, but I want you guys to know, okay, that you can trade micros, be small, stay small, grow as you actually learn this particular strategy. Now, Tony, the goal of any successful trader, right? Repeatable, easy to learn, occurs every day. That setup has got to occur every single day and yields consistent returns. One setup, okay, has an 80% hit rate. Ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what Tony is going to take you through. Tony, have at it. Let's talk a little bit about the golden setup.
Yeah, thanks. And I want to kind of dovetail on what Don was just talking about in terms of the micros. They have lowered the barrier to entry for everybody to start to trade futures. Futures, they have a stigma. They're a little intimidating. They're kind of fast moving product. And I start and encourage every single brand new trader to start on the micros. And it helps us kind of get our bearings with, the product. It trades exactly like the larger standard product, which is the NQ, and which is where you're going to make your money. So we use the micros to train, to get the trade mechanics down, to understand how to manage risk. And then once we have our proof of concept, some consistency across the board, and this happens rather quickly, by the way. A lot of people will graduate from the micro to the standard product, which is the NQ, the full NQ. All right. So again, for me, and especially for teaching something like this, it's got to be repeatable, and it happens every single day. And we're seeing it happen multiple times a day now. It is something that really needs to kind of be brainless. I'll be honest with you. We want to just put the trade on and let it work. And we're going to get into some of that here in a minute. But let me kind of just talk about why the NASDAQ. So why the NASDAQ? Obviously, tech is top of mind. AI is everything right now. And by trading the NASDAQ, the largest tech companies on the planet all trade on the NASDAQ. We're trading the NASDAQ 100 when we're trading the NASDAQ futures. And we can trade every single one of them. So basically like its own little ETF, if you will, the Magnificent Seven or whatever they're calling it these days. We can trade that under one symbol. We can focus on one chart. And in this particular situation, one level, which I'm going to reveal in a few minutes. So we can trade the entire basket of the Magnificent Seven in one symbol without all of the risk, without having to see, which one is better than the other, which one's in play today. We're not trading those as individual equities. We are trading the NASDAQ outright. And so when I talk about this NASDAQ and we're trading futures, kind of lose all that concept of something convoluted where that's a contract that's going to expire. We're trading the NASDAQ, and I'm going to call it the NQ from this point forward. We're trading the NQ like a stock, like an equity. It's a symbol. We can buy and sell it as many times as we want. As Don indicated earlier, there are a lot of benefits to trading futures over equities. The lack of a pattern day trade rule. So you don't need a minimum of $25,000 in your account. You're not going to get flagged as a pattern day trader. We're not looking for an uptick rule to get short. We can literally buy and sell this as many times as we want throughout the day. Now, on the screen, I want to introduce the golden setup, and that's what this is, okay? And now this came about kind of like, out of a marketing meeting, right, Don? We were talking about strategies, things to put forward, and I said, look, we have a golden setup, and we put all of the parameters together, and we launched this product. And it is based on, again, like Don said, battle tested. I've been trading this particular setup since the NASDAQ has been in the 4,000s. I think in 2016, we were in the 4,000s. And I've been talking about the 26 for quite a while. Now I've streamlined this down to where anybody that can trade futures in their account can trade this and start to take advantage of the high probability setup that the golden setup provides. And so what I want to show you on your screen, I'm going to point to a couple of things now. And from this point forward on the NQ, I'm going to start talking about a number that you're probably going to get tired of hearing, but I'm going to say it about 1,000 times. The 26, okay? Now, what do I mean by the 26? So hopefully you can see on the screen, this is the 21,626. Right now we're in the 22,126. It occurs for every tranche of 100 points. So we've got a 21,626, 726, 826, 526, 426. You kind of get the point. I put a criteria together by which this trade works and how it sets up. And it's very important that you understand the criteria when you're taking this trade. If you are a current futures trader, I'm going to give this to you today. You're actually going to learn this today. And, every time we do these, Don, and this is what, our fourth one? So every time we do this, someone in the chat says, hey, I just bought the 26. I just did a golden setup. So it's very possible that it's going to set up in our session here today. But let me just walk you through it. You don't really need to be a tactician or some kind of chart maven, if you will, to see on the screen how price descends down into this level, okay? And then it reacts away from that level. It comes down from this level and it reacts. A little bit of a retracement, right? we capitalize on this right here. So when price comes down, the next level I'm going to start to talk about in here is the 50. And again, remember, this is a 650, 21,000 or 22,650. Sorry, 21,650, 21,550, 450, you name it. Okay. So we're just going to focus on the back part of this, where the actual level is. So when we come from the 50 down to the 26, we buy 2 contracts there, right? And we're going to get into the real details here in 1 second. And then we simply let price do its thing. And we've got the trade pretty much automated, where we're taking profit, how we're managing the risk in the trade, and then how we ultimately get paid on the final target. Okay. Let me get going here. So here's an example of just, a couple things that I want to point out here. This is a P&L from a 26, a golden setup. And as you can see on the screen, this is 526. Okay. Profit was taken at the first target, which is the 33. I'm going to get into that. And then the final target, which is back to the 50. So the trade originates from the 50 and returns back to the 50. This is how we arrive at our $620 a day. And like Don said, a lot of times before lunch. But one thing I do want to note, kind of show you here, is the velocity of this trade. We're not staying in these trades very long. These trades last 2 minutes, sometimes 3 minutes, sometimes 2 minutes or 1 minute. It just depends on the volatility of the day, but occurring over and over again every single day. So here's another example. This is actually the same day, at the same level. So it gave us an opportunity to go again. This is the following day. And notice we are 400 points higher than we were the previous day. And we're still trading the same setup, getting the same results. Again, long 26, we're buying. So when I say buy, the other term for that is getting long. Long 26, this one achieved the 33, you guys, in 3 seconds. Right? So this stuff happens quick. I'm going to show you in a minute here how you can actually take advantage of the velocity of the trade and not kind of freak out about it, right? So before we really get detailed into this, or just a reminder, this is something that I've been doing for a long time. It produces an 80% win rate when executed correctly. It repeats itself every single day in the NQ. And I'm going to walk you through, I'm going to give you the actual details of this right now. So when you're ready, give me a big yes in the chat room and I'll get going here. We're going to talk about, like I said, if you are a current futures trader, you're going to learn something today that you can actually probably bank on, right? You're not going to need much more than this if you know what you're looking at. All right, so let's get into it. The criteria for this setup, again, it needs to originate from the 50. So what's on the screen here is 21,350. Price has to descend. It has to come down to the 26. On the chart, this is the 21,326. What we do at this level is, we buy when price reaches this level. So we have an order waiting for us, or waiting for price to come down to this level. That in and of itself alleviates so much stress, especially when we're trading a fast moving market, because you're just simply waiting for it to come to the level you're trading. You're not trying to catch every little wiggle on the chart. You're just saying, hey, as soon as it comes here, I will be involved. I am going to buy 2 contracts. We'll get into the details in a second. When we retrace down from the 50 to the 26, and then we look for that retracement back to the 50. Very, very simple. Very, very simple.
So one thing I always like to okay, time out. You start talking about the 50 and you start talking about the 26. Okay. I think sometimes I think it gets lost in translation, and I want to reiterate in here because again, I'm trying to make sure that everybody's on the exact same page in here, and not to slow things down. But what he's actually, what Tony's referencing is, we're trading, 21,326. So when he says when price descends to the 26, when it's descending to 21,326, Tony's initiating a buy. He's initiating a buy at that point, and that's what that level, in particular represents. And he's talking about the 50 level, and that is a market move effectively back up to 21,350 in this particular instance. And again, I like to reiterate that because like the 26 and the 50 sometimes kind of get lost in translation. So what Tony's effectively identified as a repeatable pattern within NASDAQ and a risk like defined strategy that he's going in to take advantage of that, which he's explaining right now.
Yeah, I kind of take for granted that a lot of people understand my lingo, and so you're a very good sounding board for that, a decoder, if you will. We're going to talk about it more and more. I have plenty of examples to show you guys. So again, the golden setup is based on the NQ. It's based on the NASDAQ, where all the action is, right? It's where our magnificent seven trade. We're trading it in one symbol. The NASDAQ, again, has volatility and liquidity, and it makes it the perfect vehicle for intraday trading. And I want to define that just a little bit more because we kind of glossed over it a little bit. We are not holding contracts. We're not holding these overnight. There's a lot of risk in doing that. The NASDAQ, the NQ, futures market trades 23 hours a day. So when you're sleeping, it's trading, it's moving. And I don't want you waking up to some surprise, right? So we go what I call cash by the end of the day. We are not long or short going into the close of a regular trading hour session. So that's very important. The point of this strategy is to get involved, get our $620 for the day, be done for the day, and then wait for the next day. And it sets up every single day. And that's how you build consistency off of just one setup. Okay. And like I said earlier, if you're a futures trader and you're kind of getting the gist of it already, you can start today. You can see when price comes down from a 50 level, and we're at the 22,050 area right now, 22,150, and it comes down to the 26, okay, is really the only level that you need to accomplish your goal of $620 a day. And kind of going back a little bit for the brand new folks, we distill this down into the micro terms, and I talk through how to actually get some consistency under your belt to graduate to that NASDAQ level. But you're only going to focus on one level. Okay. Again, like I said, I told you I was going to mention 26 1,000 times, and I'm going to keep mentioning that level. So a couple things. Why do I do this? We had a testimonial from an 85-year-old trader, brand new trader, just starting, and it's been a godsend for him. This is a little text that I got on my Instagram from one of my students, Paul. Hey, Tony, I just wanted to thank you for teaching me everything you knew about trading. I think you're hiding some things. They might be, but my progress is moving along nicely. I will be a $250,000 trader this year, right? That's humongous. This is a trader that never really traded the NASDAQ futures prior to meeting me, and learned a lot of stuff from me, and is feeding his family now in a big way. So $250,000 a year trading futures is accomplishable. Here's another example. And now we're going to kind of get into the mechanics of it and how it works, okay? How we arrive at that number. So again, as price descends, you're going to see a lot of examples that look like this. And so what I always get, I get like an email from someone that says, why did you get out so early? It just went and it never came back. You can trade this a number of different ways. The most important part of this strategy is getting the entry part right? So when price comes down from the 50 into the 26, this is the 526, we buy two contracts there, okay? We sell one of the contracts when it reaches the first target. And these targets are well defined. That yields us $140. I'm gonna give you the number of points that equals, and it's +7. Okay, this is gonna come useful here in a bit. Now, when price hits the second target, we're out of the trade. $480 plus the 140 equals our $620. So that is a +7 and a +24 for a total of 31. Why am I saying that? Because some of you that are asking in the chat about trading micros, this is the number we're really going to focus on. And that when you build consistency over that number and you follow the rules correctly and learn the setup and learn your timing and how you need to enter the trade, that money is going to be a foregone conclusion when you graduate to the larger product. Okay. And what I mean by that is this, as you saw on the P&L, these are very quick trades. And so what we're implementing on this particular strategy in this trade and how to actually get a hold of it, if you will, is a bracket. So brackets are very useful for a number of things. We have several orders on here in one single click, right? You're not going to be fast enough, you guys, to get the entry part, put a stop in, take profit here, take profit there. This essentially helps automate the actual trade. So based
Yeah,
on
I'm gonna interject a little bit over
Go
here
for it.
because I'm reading some of the chat right now. First of all, people get really hung up on the brokerage side of things. The
Yeah.
one thing I will tell you, it's don't get hung up on the brokerage side of it. Look, I was in the brokerage business 15 years. I know all of them. Okay. And we work with all the major broker dealers out there, literally all of them. So just depending upon like, your suitability, kind of who you are and so forth, we'll help you work with a particular broker. And we have several that we do work with. As I said, do not put the cart before the horse. It's like people are so worried about in the chat room right now. Oh, which brokerage firm do you use? Who cares? It's like asking like which accountant do you use before you've actually made money. Got to learn the strategy first. Okay. There's dozens of brokerage firms though that are going to help you. But this order entry, bracket orders, and bracketing orders to explain it for the most part. Okay. Sooner or later, you have to execute, people. Execute, which basically means you're going to be buying, you're going to be setting a stop down below and a target price above. Okay, all done with one click. And that's what the bracket order is. Nothing more, nothing less. It's a profit target 1 and profit target 2. It's a buy order, stop order, and a profit target above. Done. Don't overthink it. Don't look at the bracket on the screen in the picture over here and like, who cares? Okay, every brokerage firm is a little bit different, but the bracket orders, yeah, you use brackets. Okay, why? It makes it easy. Okay. And we'll talk about, setting stop loss because people, again, they tend to put the cart before the horse with the different brokerage firms. And again, I've got strong feelings in the brokerage firms, really strong feelings, but that doesn't matter right now. It's strategy first. Okay. Strategy first because brokerage firm ain't going to make you better. It's like, you want to be a gamer, when you're a computer gamer, but you go out and you buy like a $5,000 computer, but you've never played a game before. You got to learn the strategy. Okay. Then we're going to actually set you up with the right firm. And it does differ for some people. People are like, my firm doesn't allow me to do that. Then that's the wrong firm. My firm doesn't allow me to do anything. That would be the wrong firm. Okay. And we work with Tasty and we work with E-Trade and we work with Iron Beam and we work with, you would just go on and on and on, all different brokerage firms. Okay. But again, you really put the cart before the horse. So strategy first. Bracket, though, absolutely is an essential portion of this. Tony?
Absolutely essential. It just look. I hate using the word automate, but it essentially does. It's almost a set it and forget it type of a trade because especially when it comes to the NQ, it moves rather quickly. Okay, and so as long as we get, like I said earlier, as long as we get that entry right, the bracket takes over from there. Okay, and there is some trade management on some of these trades, but for the most part, when we get the bracket right, when we get the entry right, sorry, the bracket takes over. Anne, who is very active in all of my 90-day challenges, all of my strategy sessions courses. I had the best day so far, 135 points in the MNQ, the micro. Very happy using a bracket every time. It just makes it easier, you guys. It just makes it easier.
And by the way, I'm a huge advocate, just so everybody knows, of MNQ, which is micro NASDAQ. Like we tend to use so many acronyms in this business. I got the MNQ and how many handles in my booking, and you got to forget all that stuff. The MNQ, it's this micro NASDAQ, and when it starts moving around a little bit, you make or lose basically $2 for every dollar it moves. A product like that. When I say product, it's justification for like when you're trading something like that. It's it's basically, it's like Disneyland, like it's a small like world after all, but you're really executing something in the marketplace. But it's still like Disney because it almost like eases the process and slows it down. But like literally, you can open an account with a few $100, okay, and learn the strategy. People get, again, they get very focused on the brokerage firm, they get very focused on the amount of capital, neither which you really need to worry about until you're actually executing. And when you do execute the micro NASDAQ, it's like batting practice. You can just take swing after swing after swing and perfect your skill. And you don't paper trade, you execute in the micro. Like that's why it's such a great product. It's why I mentioned the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. That's why we did marketing relationships with them. And that's really near and dear to my heart because you want to learn something. People, you can read a book about golf. You can read a book about golf. You're still going to suck. You still have to go out there and take swings. And that's exactly what the micro allows you to do.
Yeah, it is fantastic. And again, very low barrier to entry. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Paul say that micros have now exceeded volume?
Yeah.
It is the most popular, the micro NASDAQ is the most popular CME product right now.
That is absolutely correct. So the micro NASDAQ, okay, like more contracts trade through there than any other product. Now, obviously, it's not like, the overall value, but this micro NASDAQ product, it's the most successful product at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, bar none. There's nothing else that's got more success than the number of contracts that trade. And I'll be quite frank, if you're, oh, the strategy and is this good? A lot of that is due to Tony Rago. I mean, literally because of Tony. I mean, how many thousands of people are actually trading, strategy with it? It's huge. It's absolutely huge. We do millions of contracts a month through TheoTrade now. Go ahead, Tony.
So just on the screen, just another example, walking through the very basic mechanics of this. Again, as price is coming from, in this case, it's the 17,750. As price is descending down, you have your order sitting there with your bracket ready to go. It picks you up or you get engaged or execute your long trade here. We buy the 26. Again, remember, we're buying two contracts, right? We're buying two contracts. One of them gets sold at the 33 for a +7. And then we look for price to retrace to the 50 to complete the trade. And that, again, is our $620 for the trade. On the screen, so many people, like I said, will send me emails. Why did you let it go? It kept going. If we get this part right, and when you start to get a few of these under your belt, there are traders that do hold it. There are traders that send me emails and go, hey, that was the low of the day. You realize that the 26 was the low of the day. And that's, it happens more often than not.
All right. I'm up $8,853. That comes from John T. Wow. Just made my first $1,000 day. Tony, this week I made $4,280. That comes from Shirley Q. Yeah, I love actually reading through a couple of these. Let's do it again. So, by the way, repetition, if you guys are sick of hearing about the 26, you're really going to be, because repetition matters. One of the things I want to bring up in here, Tony, is that when you talk about the 26, so 21,326, and he mentions like a +7, he effectively buying it at the 26, okay, and selling one of them at the 33. And what that basically does is it locks in 7 points. Like, because people overthink this. They're like, is it 26 and 33? Let's do the math. From 26 to 33 is 7 points. So that's when he says +7. All right, you're basically capturing at that point your 7 points, and then you allow it to run higher. We got to continue, sir.
It becomes a profitable trade at that point, right? And so the term that I use is getting risk out of the trade, because based on the methodology that I teach, when we take the +7, when we take profit at the 33, we simply protect the rest of the trade. And so if it comes back, if the market has volatility and it comes back to take us out at our entry point, we are out even, but we walk away with those 7 points of profit. Okay, so that's very important. And to me, that is the most important part of this the system or the strategy is getting risk out of the trade, paying for the trade, and getting to a point where we can no longer lose. And like Don said, letting the bracket actually take over. Another example where, we have a nice little kind of a bottoming pattern here. I'm not going to get too technical on that. And it comes right back through and probably didn't return for that day. The 26 has just a ton of action on it.
All right, traded both of today's golden setups, $4,014 net profit. That actually comes from Mark D. All right, let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Here's another example, right, of the 26 price coming down into the 26 from above. These are unbelievable trades when they do this, right? When they just retrace right away. And we see them quite often. Sorry if that snap was too loud. And this was one of those little characteristic V's that we've been seeing where price, again, it descends. Like we're not really engaged up here, but as it starts to descend from this 50 level, so I'm gonna draw right there, comes down to the 26. As you can see, you have to be ready for this. Okay, you have to be ready for this. Bracket takes over, profit is taken, right? And then again, as you start to get a few of these under your belt, you start to manage them a little differently, but nothing ever changes on the first part of the trade, and that is getting risk out of the trade.
I love this one. This is easy. The golden setup pays again. That's easy enough over there, Tony. So far, I'm up $64,130. Thanks for always being there for me. That comes from Randall. There are so many opportunities throughout the day. By the way, that was one of the questions that was actually coming up. Is like, how many times a day is this set up? If you guys know anything about NASDAQ, this thing whips around a little bit. So there are a lot of opportunities throughout the course of the day. Like, I can't remember any real recent days. Even like a couple of days ago was kind of dead coming into the holiday weekend, but I can't remember, Tony, any recent days where the setups did not occur. So if you miss one, it's no big deal. Another one is right around the corner, and that comes from Brent G. So go for it.
I mean, look, there's no doubt that you mentioned it earlier. Trump likes to tweet, where we see a lot of volatility as a result of that. So, a lot of people kind of like frown at that. I absolutely love it because it creates volatility, and volatility means we get more occurrences or more chances to actually get this set up right. Prior to Trump taking office, we would see the golden set up 1 to 3 times a day. We're starting to see it set up more and more, doubling the occurrences here as of late. And of course, volatility is a special situation where you got to understand how to navigate that. And I teach all of that. I teach every part of that and how to take advantage of the expanded volatility that we're seeing. So here's another example on the screen. And this is obviously, where we are now, right? 21,526. Again, another example right here. So let me zoom in a little bit here at the 550. So this is the 21,550. So that's coming from the 50, right? Down to the 26, and then it retraces back to the 50. And it does it again, and it comes right back to the 50. And it does it again and comes right back to the 50. Now, what's important to note here is you don't have to try to catch every one. Like Brent's testimonial there is like, if you miss one, there's going to be another one, right? And people will fumble the ball. They'll hesitate. Wow, that came in really fast. All right, I'm going to do the next one, right? Or something to that effect. And so we'll have multiple opportunities to, again, buy the 26 when price comes down into that level from above, from the 50. Okay, very, very important. And again, we're doing this. If you're absolutely brand new, you're doing this on the micros. And for that reason, in and of itself, there should be no hesitation, right? We should not hesitate whatsoever. You really want to focus on getting your bearings with this and just becoming a machine with it.
Made $1,020 today. That comes from Ken. Booked about $6,000 in profits. That comes from Sam. Banked $2,750 today. That comes from John H. I got to tell you, yeah, Tony, I banked $344,000 solely thanks to your system. I just trade from home and play tennis anytime I like. Tell friends it's like having an ATM in my house. Every day, I just decide how much I want to take out. Comes from John P. Some pretty phenomenal, quotes in here. With that, let's do it again. One more time. By the way, what's crazy is we could literally, I was distracted over here because I'm looking at my screen right now, and it's not a half bad explanation because we're trading 22,120 right now inside of the S&Ps, or sorry, inside of the NASDAQ. We did not descend from the 50, but this setup's actually pretty close.
Yeah.
I'm watching it right now, so we'll see if we set one up here within the next few minutes.
Now
So
this is an example of getting the $620 before lunch, right? And again, we're not sitting here staring at our screen. The prime time for this is in the morning before lunch for us, so that's where our focus is. Again, this kind of marked the low of the day, right? And we didn't really even have to think about this, but what I do want to kind of show you on the screen here is the size of the candles, right? The size of the candles, that's that volatility that we're talking about. That's the volatility that we're seeing. There's a lot of selling, comes down to the 26, retraces right back to the 50 and beyond. And those are the things that we're looking for. These are the gravy trades. Those are the really fun ones.
Yeah, I'm averaging $1,000 to $2,000 a day. I like that. I only trade one ticker, and that I don't have to study numerous stocks or charts. That actually comes from Hutch. Just got another $400 on the golden setup from Gabriel S. I love the structure and the discipline. By the way, the discipline. That's what this is really about. That comes from Michael M.
I want to say one thing here, Don. This is something that I think is very understated. There's a lot of students, a lot of folks that come through my courses, and one of the things that they'll tell me is, "Hey, I've been just chasing the NASDAQ. I love the NASDAQ. I love the action in the NQ, but I've been chasing it. I've had no kind of system or structure." That's what I provide with this, because we're not chasing it. We're simply waiting for our setup and waiting for our criteria to be met. And so if I'm talking to you like, hey, you know what? I need a little more structure in my life. I need some rules so I don't just go crazy with the market, because it's very easy to do. Then you're in the right place. Here's another one.
One more time.
Another 26. It kind of speaks for itself at this point, you guys. It's just really all about identifying this right here. People have asked me, can I put an alert on this level? I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can put an alert on it. If you're sitting there paying attention, if you're trading with me, I'm going to obviously say, everybody, heads up. We are coming from the 50. The 26 is setting up, and everybody jumps in. We grab our 2 contracts each, and then we see this to the final target.
Fantastic. Tony, why don't you read this one? Because I think that this is something that's kind of near and dear to your heart.
Yeah. So look, I get a lot of testimonials. I get a lot of emails. And this stuff resonates with me. This is really why I do this stuff. It really is. So, Tony, I've just swept my account from my trades in June, which is enough to pay for the rest of my father-in-law's chemo treatments and beyond. Now I have more time with my dad. Thank you for everything. It speaks for itself. It is everything. And this is very fulfilling for me. It's something that I've developed, and we've kind of honed in, and we're obviously giving it to you guys. And we hope that this is something that materializes for you with this strategy. Another one. So kind of just speaks for itself, you guys. These are just, you can probably, if you are a futures trader, you can probably go throw 26 and 50 on your screen and go see how price comes down and interacts with this level. It finds a low and it retraces, right? And there's just so many examples.
Yeah, so we're hitting example after example, obviously, because the repetition here is what's so critical. Finest. and most truthful organization I've ever dealt with. That actually comes from Regina G. My trades paid for the whole 90-day challenge today. That actually comes from Anthony. Look, introducing the new and improved 90-day NASDAQ trading challenge. Now, this is the fourth time we've actually done this, and by far and away the most successful kind of regimented trading strategy we have here. That's why we call it Theo approved. Now we actually help you set up the charts with auto charting advantage. And that's been one of the biggest pieces of feedback is everybody's like, I want a brokerage firm and then the chart set up. And how do I do this? We actually do all of that. We do all of it now with auto charting advantage. So everything that this includes, let's actually go through it. So as I said, this is the 90-day NASDAQ trading challenge. It's $895. It's theotrade.com/gold. And the reason we say theotrade.com/gold, because this is actually known as the golden setup. So we're going to give you the auto charting, which basically helps you set up your charts. But what we're also going to do is have a golden setup live masterclass. So, Tony has had this recorded before, okay? But he's going to do it again. He's going to be live February 27th. If everybody's looking at their calendar, you're exactly a week away. Okay, you're a week away from that. So the Golden Setup Live Masterclass, okay, will actually be taught live by Tony Thursday, February 27th at 1 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so rather than just have you go through the recording. Now, by the way, this is not just a class, and I want to make that abundantly clear, but he's going to redo the class and redo the class live. Okay, this is an incredibly well-disciplined trading structure. So the class is like a little bit of a repeat of before, of course. Okay, that is what's so important though, is he's doing it live, able to answer the specifics, okay, from that particular group. We don't stop there. Like the 90-day trading challenge is 90-day access, okay, to a room exactly like this where we interact with you, okay, and set up and trade with you. And I cannot stress that enough. Is that like I don't want anybody to think it's a class and you go to the class and that's it. By the way, it's a class. And if you can't make the class live, that's recorded. And you can listen to it again and again and again at 2 times the speed. He sounds like a chipmunk, but it's awesome. But after you go through the class, and by the way, I suggest that everybody go through the class because you're going to trade this. Okay, put forth a little bit of effort. And I challenge people every single time. I put forth a little bit of effort. You're going to get out of this a little bit of what you put into it. Okay. And you ask anybody that has actually gone through here, they actually put a little bit forth, a little bit of effort. Okay. They're going to give you phenomenal reviews. Okay. Without unequivocation, I say that because anybody that goes through the 90-day NASDAQ trading challenge, okay, has absolutely loved it. And as I said to you, this is the 4th time that we've offered this, okay, exact kind of setup, but we've added to it is the auto charting advantage, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit more detail, which actually sets everything up for you. What we've added is Tony's going to redo the masterclass. In the previous one, we just gave you a recording, but you know what? We found like a lot of people, they didn't show up and they like watch the recording, which kind of set Tony back. So he's like, I'm redoing it. Okay, let's do it live. I actually appreciate that. You'd rather do it live. More people are going to tune in. More people are going to get their questions answered. So he's going to redo the entire class live. Then you got 90 days. Okay. You own him for 90 days. Pretty much own Tony. I mean, this is what he does all day. And by the way, I don't know if you guys realize this, whether we were doing this in a chat room, whether we're sitting here, we're still sitting here talking to one another and yelling at our screens, even when we're not live. This is what we do. I mean, we started TheoTrade before TheoTrade. I would sit there and like yap at my screen. And my wife said, you should put a microphone in front of you. She's like, first of all, it's hysterical. And secondly, like people probably want to hear what you have to say. It's no different. I mean, he's going to trade with you. Okay. And Tony, hands down, gives more access, okay, to himself than any other instructor, including myself. Like when I say like Tony's yours for 90 days. Okay. So you got 90-day access. Okay. And he's going to be in there for a pretty considerable period of time every single day. Then there is a monthly golden coaching calls where Tony will actually supposed to spend like an hour, but like 2 hours later, he's actually going to give you a call that's just basically going through some of the results, some of the trade setups, okay, looking at future volatility. In addition to it, you also get Futures 101. There's going to be some people in here that have no idea what a futures contract is. So I put together a Futures 101. My specialty is, stocks, options, futures, but I think I was well situated to give you a Futures 101 class portion of it. And again, we also give you consistent setups and live trade ideas for 3 months. You're getting setups, okay? Not just somebody talking at you. You're getting setups. Get long the 26th. We're going in now. And you have a few hundred people that are in the exact same trade, okay? There's no curve fitting over here. This is the logic. This is the strategy. As I said, it's TheoTrade.com, okay, /gold. Again, TheoTrade.com /gold. As I actually take you in here, and I'm actually going to take you to the page here momentarily, I just want to express something to you on this particular page here. So bear with me for a moment as I actually pull this up. Okay. As I pull the page up in here, scroll down towards the bottom of this. Again, it's theotrade.com /gold. You can see the link found directly in the room over there. Okay, give us a valid email address, please. It's important that we're able to contact you. Okay, I'm also going to give you a phone number here momentarily, and again, it's 895 on there. All right, onward from here. All right, now the new golden setup live masterclass. Tony, anything that you would really say? First of all, how long is the class going to be? I'll start with that. Like, how long is the class supposed to be? How long is the class going to be?
So, you know me, I like to talk. So it's a minimum of 2 hours. It tends to run about 2 to 2.5 hours. And as Don indicated, it is recorded. I highly suggest there are several 90-day challenge participants in the chat now. I highly suggest you watch it more than once.
Yeah. No, by the way, if Tony says 2.5 hours, book yourself for 3.5. I'm dead serious too, because
For
like
three
he's not,
anyway.
yeah, he's not going to stop until the questions stop. You
Well,
know,
look, it's very important for me. If we're going to do this as a cohesive group, I can't leave anybody behind. So I got to really make sure that it's very simple. Everything is simplified. There are a few moving parts. So I want to make sure that everybody's on board. I don't like when people get left behind. Okay. And so that's where you got to meet me in the middle. You have to watch the class. I want you to participate in the live class if you can. If you can't, watch it in the archive more than once. You're going to refer back to it several times. It is all of the details, not only on the long 26. I also give you guys 3 additional high probability setups that are right in line with the 26 as well. Okay. So we have a total of 4 setups that come out of the master class, right? That's pretty huge. So we're more than doubling, we're more than tripling our opportunities throughout the day to again arrive at that $620 a day.
by the way, I love it. Ned came in. We are NASDAQians. By the way, that's my nickname from people from the planet NASDAQ. All right, so Tony's going to take you step by step. He's going to teach you the golden setup. Now, in addition to the golden setup, okay, there are 3 additional setups in here. So yes, we're focusing exclusively on the 26th today. But for those of you, if you're like, wow, yeah, but I might want other setups because maybe the 26 doesn't set up as often, we get it. Okay, there are actually several setups, of which Tony, the silver setup is right there. Right when I say right there, it's real close inside of the markets right now. The class, of course, is recorded, and you have unlimited access to it. It's $2,000 value, just the course. Like, we wanted to make something that was just within everybody's reach. And again, that class is live a week from now. So Tony was going to beat himself up all next Thursday inside of this particular class. And Tony, I'll pop in as well just to probably just to add to your torture. And those are long days. I mean, they're long days for us, but it's important to get everybody on that same page. And I highly suggest if you guys enroll for this, put it on your schedule. Like, seriously, put it on your schedule. There's nothing wrong. Schedule. It's 1 p.m. Eastern time on February 27th. And I put a lot of weight into it because it's a huge amount of effort to host these classes, more than most people will ever know. It's rough. We can have, hundreds and hundreds of people firing questions in there, and we will have plenty of support to help Tony out as well. All right. The next thing, there was a question that came in here about this, but this is new. This is the auto charting advantage. So it's done for you. So basically, when Tony was showing you the setup, all the lines on the chart, okay, you're not going to have to screw around with the charts. No fooling around with charts, okay? You're not going to have to screw around with charts. It's programmed for you. It saves time. It saves a headache, okay? Makes it a little bit more low tech. No trading or charting knowledge needed initially. So we spent the time and actually built, okay, these levels for a number of different charting applications. And that's, easier said than done. It took us quite some time to be able to do that. But the auto charting, okay, made this easier to grasp almost immediately. Okay. As people look, it's one thing to see our screens, it's another to have those levels on your screen. And this almost instantaneously, okay, programs your charts exactly the same as Tony's. Onward. Bonus number 2, it's 90-day access to the golden chat room. Now, the golden chat room, to begin with, looks exactly like the room that you're presently in. It's the exact same technology, so forth. So you can see Tony's screen. He's back and forth with you. You're getting your questions answered live day to day. Okay. And it's constant mentoring in there and trade setups. He's in there, okay, to provide trade setups and to answer questions. All right. So when the 90-day trading challenge kind of begins, I would say, honestly, the first 3 or 4 days, a little slow. It's a little like, wild because you get a couple of hundred new people, and there's going to be a few hundred new people in here today. It gets a little wild. After about 3 to 4 days of chaos, all of a sudden it clicks and starts to gel for people. Okay. And it's cool because you watch actually in this room, everybody's like, here it comes, 26. Okay. And everybody's in it together. It's actually really cool because I'll sit back and watch sometimes the people like chatting in to the golden setup room, knowing when it's going to set up and so forth. I think you guys will appreciate it. Anyway, the amount of time and effort put forth each day by Tony is unrivaled, again, by anybody here at TheoTrade, including myself. He's going to trade live with you, and he's going to post the golden setups. Like, I don't want anybody to think, as I said, it's a class and then you walk away and, everybody goes home. And like, no, it's a class, and then execute. This is about 90 days, okay, with us. Okay, it's about 90 days with us. Now, that's bonus number 2, obviously 90-day access to the golden chat room. Bonus number 3, monthly golden coaching calls. So this is in addition, okay, in addition to spending each day with you, okay? Imagine a coaching call. I always say the coaching call was going to be an hour. They finally did some justice to you here, Tony. They just screw it, made it a 2-hour coaching call because he'll never finish. And if it says 2 hours, he'll probably go 3 hours. It's a coaching call. Okay. And there are 3 dedicated coaching calls. And these coaching calls, this one is less about the live trade and more about what happened here, what happened here. Okay. Oh, we got stopped out there. And that happens. Okay. Win, lose, or draw. You got to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly of live trade, ongoing refinement of the golden setup. Like there's always going to be like people that are excelling and always people like just like a distribution curve, people that are kind of stragglers, right? We got to pull the edge, that bottom side of the curve up. These coaching calls are for that. It's to get everybody again back on the same page, refinement, because you're going to find out that there is, okay, a little time it takes to acquire to be able to execute in there. And we want to make sure that everybody is kind of on that same page. I think to me, that's a lot of what these coaching calls do, is just tries to actually bring up, okay, people that are, maybe not as in tune with what the strategy is. I put a lot of weight into these calls because I've learned a lot actually listening to them. Onward. Bonus number 4. This is the Futures 101 with myself. Okay. You're going to learn what a futures contract basically is. Look, we've got people joining today that literally said like NQ is not in my trading application. Okay. No, because it would be /NQ. And there's a lot of brokerage firms that don't even offer futures contracts. Okay, well, why don't they offer futures contracts? Because, first of all, they don't have the ability to build technology, okay, for such. They just don't have the ability to do it. Um, they don't want futures trading because they just want people to put money in an account and never do anything with it. And they make money off of your money. There's lots of brokerage firms like that. Okay. So this is going to give you the basics behind what a futures is, introduction to the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, that's the CME group, okay, and what Globex is. We're going to talk to you about futures margin, and it is spectacular. Okay. Why professional traders watch and trade futures, how futures drive order flow. You're going to learn a huge amount in the Futures 101. Okay. In fact, I suggest before even going to Tony's class, like, after enrolling today, here's your homework. Go to the Futures 101. As I said to you, like, I feel pretty strongly, spend the time, put in a little bit of effort. You may know futures contracts. I'm probably going to bring something up in Futures 101. You're like, holy crap, I had no idea that that's how they trade. Or holy crap, these things trade basically 24/5, which is 24 hours a day. Okay. 5 days a week. Yes, they're closed for a short period of time. It's more like 23 hours a day. Okay. You can understand that, how the futures marketplace drives order flow, okay, to the entire market. So with that, there's a 90-day money back guarantee and something we've been doing. And it's kind of cool because 90-day trader challenge and there's a 90-day money back guarantee on that. There's no if, and, or but about it. No excuses, no questions, no commentary needed. Just email us, ask for your money back. Look, it's $895. Okay. You don't have to call us, just email us. Okay. There's a money back stipulation. There are none. There are no stipulations to the money back guarantee. We get it. Sometimes life gets in the way. Something happens all of a sudden. Yeah, I don't have time right now. Look, we've had people that are like, oh, well, I can't do it this time. Well, okay. All right. We got it. We got it. We're still going to be here. But you have that, right, to fall back on. But at the exact same time I'm saying that, okay, look, spend the time, put in the effort. Okay, you put in the effort, I think you're going to find it's worthwhile. We believe in it. Okay, we'll stick our neck out. There's a money back guarantee. There are no stipulations. Just email us. Again, theotrade.com/gold. Moving on over here. Look, the 90-day NASDAQ Trader Challenge, Tony is going to work with you directly. Okay, there are limited spots. And obviously, this thing kicks off, with a live class. I mean, the official kickoff of it is a live class next Thursday. Okay, if you're enrolling today, you can hop in the chat room literally tomorrow and maybe just, hands off, sit on your hands a little bit and watch, okay, until the class, but you're going to start to pick it up, okay, almost immediately and even before the class, okay. In addition to all of this, there's unlimited email access to Tony directly, not to me, but to Tony. There's unlimited email access to Tony, which is awesome because wherever you go today, like, at least what was the slogan like for Charles Schwab years ago? Talk to Chuck. Let me tell you something. Chuck ain't answering the damn phone no more. Chucky don't care. Okay. There's no one to talk to. You can email us. And we answer emails. When I say answer emails, we answer trade related questions. You got a trade related question? Hit us with a trade related question. Okay. If you're a client of TheoTrade, like bar none, we're here to support you in every way, shape, or form. Again, go through everything. It's the new and improved 90-day trading challenge. Okay. So all the different aspects of it. And I want to make sure, okay, that everybody is rather comfortable with this. So auto charting. Okay. Auto charting is now part of it. So we're giving you auto charting in there, which is critical. Okay. The live masterclass. So Tony decided like, hey, you know what, man, I'm just going to do it again. I actually want to redo the entire class. So that will be live February 27th at 1 p.m. Eastern. Okay. You're being given 24/7 access to the recording. By the way, everything is archived. Everything is recorded. Every spoken word here at TheoTrade since 2016. And yeah, we've been around since 2016. I had somebody the other day, why not longer? Well, another career running Thinkorswim and TD Ameritrade before we built TheoTrade. Okay. I couldn't wait to get out of the brokerage firm though. All right. The handcuffs are off. The gloves are coming off. All right. So 90-day access to the Golden Futures chat room, which literally, like you're enrolling now, it starts now. Okay. The monthly golden coaching calls, which are 2-hour calls that happen on a monthly basis. You're going to get 3 of them, obviously, over 90 days. Futures 101. And again, there's consistent setups and live trade execution for 3 months. By the way, everything you're seeing from Tony, okay, we trade live. All of us do. We trade live every single strategy. A couple of names that are actually coming through as I go about this. Curtis N. from California. By the way, these are names of individuals that I see that have enrolled. Okay, just confirming we see your enrollment. It takes me about 5 to 7 minutes before I see your name actually populated here. Curtis N. from California. Okay, AMP Wyoming. I'm going to butcher this. Okay, Zibignu from Connecticut. All right. Ashwara M from Texas. Okay. Joe P from Arizona. Timothy S from Tennessee. Arthur E from New York. Garth H from Kentucky. All right. All right. Those names are a little easier. They were getting easier as I was going along. Now, with that, if you need us, call us. If you have any questions whatsoever, right? Now, we're going to answer a bunch of questions here while live. I just want to make sure that you get everything answered. Okay. As I said, if you need us, call us 623-244-5657. Again, 623-244-5657. Okay. If something is not getting answered, we want to make sure, okay, that you get that question answered. As I was saying, this is, again, TheoAPPROVED.com/gold. TheoAPPROVED.com/gold. In your chat room, you can actually just click the link above. You could do PayPal, pay later. If you need any type of payment, just call us. We got you taken care of. There's there's nothing that we're not going to be able to answer. Feel free, give them a call. No problem whatsoever in here. All right. Made another $240. Thanks for the great lesson, Tony. That comes from Asher L. Okay. Finding you has been life-changing. Just banked $1,000. That comes from Sean F. in Denver. Okay. Day done. By the way, that's a phrase that we haven't used yet today. Okay. How many people here know what day done is? Right? Anybody know what day done is? All right. See if anybody knows what that is.
I'm sure a few people do.
All right. So is anybody here day done? Okay. Francisco. All right. Day done. So for those of you that have no idea what day done basically means, it means literally that the day is done for you because you've made whatever your expectation happened to be. It's a huge catchphrase of Tony's where when he says day done, now, after you get a little experience under your belt, obviously you're shooting for the $620. Okay. Little experience under your belt, you're shooting for $620. As soon as you hit six, okay, and change, you're literally saying that's it. Day done. Okay. So you're saying day done. Now somebody's got, $400 as their initial, balance in there, day done, 2 trades. Okay. Day done. Okay. Having a finite attainable goal each day has really changed my mental approach on what counts as a win. And that's like when he says day done, you're over $600. Day done means day done. You walk away, and Tony will talk to you a little bit about saving what we term mental capital over here. Means you hit your profitability for the day. Okay. Yeah. First trade and green. Okay. You're providing exceptional value. And by the way, there's nobody that comes through this and thinks otherwise. Like you spend that 90 days, as I said, you spend the 90 days and you show up on a day-to-day basis. It doesn't even necessarily have to be every day, but you show up, okay, you learn from Tony, you're going to see he puts forth everything he's got to it. Exceptional value, paying $900, $895 for 90 days. I mean, it breaks down to next to nothing on a per day basis. And every single day, he's going to be providing you setups that can make a hell of a lot more, than what you paid to be able to actually access the 90-day trader challenge. Look, $620 per day delivered. And this is actually showing winners and losers kind of compiled. This is what you could have potentially done had you actually banked and traded every setup over the last 9 months. And we say 9 months. So Tony, okay, and I actually did the very first webinar like this all the way back in May. Okay. This is now the fourth iteration. We're going into the fourth iteration, if you will, of the 90-day trader challenge. It's been by far and away, the group that's in there, the most successful groups that we've actually had through this. So, all right. By the way, it does not count towards pattern day trading. Doesn't. And I'm actually going to get into some Q&A over here. By the way, Paul L from Florida, Carl K from Texas. Just reading a few more names. We actually come through over here. All right. So, Tony, okay, let's answer a couple of questions in here. I'm going to start with everybody always asks me what you need to get started. By the way, you don't have to have like a ridiculous computer set up with like 8 different monitors and crap like that. I know everybody wants to run out and buy that. You do not have to have that. Okay. That's important. Look, you need a laptop, internet connection. Okay. Some people even will do this off of an iPad. I suggest though that this be done off of something with a mouse, in my opinion. Okay, I'm trying to put the mouse. I suggest that you actually execute with a mouse. Even those of you that trade on a Mac, okay. People are like, I have a Mac and it's got gestures in there. I'm like, I got one gesture for you. No, um, use a mouse. Okay. You're going to be more effective, more accurate, more concise with a mouse. I am saying that as an individual that has traded this setup, okay, thousands of times. I've traded it myself thousands of times, and I am damn good on an iPad. And I know these trading applications better than most. I mean, I've been on Thinkorswim since 1999. Thinkorswim wasn't even out in 99. It didn't even come out until 2001, but I've been on it since 99. And I'm telling you, okay, I would use a mouse to it. So that's at least my idea in there. So what do you really need? A computer and a mouse. How about that?
That's
We're
it.
now providing golden trade setup monthly live updates. Recordings are available. So you've got Tony not not only 5 days a week to be able to do a little bit of Q&A with, but you're going to bring some of the hardest questions to his coaching calls. Okay. Multiple trade setups per day. Okay. Obviously, it's subject to market conditions, but I'm going to tell you, even subject to market conditions, pretty much if the market's open, there's multiple setups a day. Yeah. Even this week, maybe a little slow. Okay. It's a little bit of a grind. Doesn't matter. Okay. You're gonna have multiple setups a day. No questions about that. You can email us anytime, receive a response within 24 hours. So, Tony, anything on that particular front? Like, do you get a lot of emails? Yes.
I get a lot of emails, but getting back to the chat room, I want to talk about that for just a few minutes. I think personally that's worth the price of admission. I'm with you for 90 days, shoulder to shoulder. I trade live in front of you. I put my order entry dome or depth of market, my order entry system on the screen in front of you. We manage the trades, directly. I'm going to alert you as to when it comes in. When we have time between setups, we talk about overall market conditions. Like I said earlier, in terms of tracking performance of the setups, I call that homework. We do that as a group. So we go back the previous day and we say, hey, this is the setup. This is how it worked out. This is how we would have capitalized on this. This is how we would have made our money here. This is a trade that failed. And then we talk about that, right? And so it's 90 days of an intensive and very much an immersement into trading futures, specifically the NASDAQ, the NQ, the MNQ. That to me is everything. And of course, that spawns endless emails, but that's okay. Look, I eat, sleep, and breathe this. I love it. And I love getting the feedback from people that have come through my courses. I love that email that says, hey, you changed my life. Like I wasn't a profitable trader for years. I've never even thought I could make money trading the futures. And now I'm making money consistently, following rules because I have structure, because I know when to trade and when not to trade, right? And that's huge. And that's all a byproduct of us spending time together in the chat room every single day. So
By the
yeah,
way, yeah, Robert L from California. I'm just letting you know. I see your enrollment over here. By the way, I also have Michelle was saying trying to call keeps dropping. Yeah, they're busy. I apologize for that. They're busy right now. You can we'll get a hold of you right here in the chat if you want, Michelle. So we'll have somebody like Jeff reach out to you in the chat here, and we've got agents in chat as well. We'll try to get a hold of you though. best we possibly can over here. So I do apologize, but there's quite a number of people actually calling in right now. So one aspect that also has not been mentioned as of yet, but variations of the trades that we're doing can actually be done inside of an IRA. A lot of people do not know that. You can actually trade futures contracts in an IRA or retirement account. Okay. If you so choose, the margins can differ a little bit, but nominally, right? And you can do this with even less than $2,000 in your account. So the amount of capital that you've got out there, okay, is not going to have to be an extreme number. So as little as $2,000 in the account. Look, we do have limited spots today available, and we say that because we're incentivizing you. Enroll now. Enroll now. Go through like Futures 101. Get yourself ready for the class. Obviously, coming up on Thursday of next week. Get results. Take action. And enroll for the 90-day trader challenge now. It's theotrade.com/gold. I will throw that up here one more time. If there's a few more questions inside of chat, by all means, please, we'll stay in chat for a few minutes with you guys, answer a couple of more questions in here. But you need to get a hold of us. Again, it's 623-244-5657, as we heard a moment ago. Does sound like some of the phone lines are fairly busy over here. We'll get a hold of you. Okay. So we're in chat as well. So sit tight. We're going to answer some of the questions just by typing into chat. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank Tony Rago. Obviously, he's going to be kicking off this presentation, of course, on Thursday. But look, as you enroll today, you can hop in, okay, to the Golden Setup Room literally tomorrow and start to meet and greet some of the other traders in there. These are other clients, of course, of TheoTrade. I think you guys will really appreciate it. I want to thank everybody. And again, on behalf of myself, everybody here at TheoTrade and Tony, thanks again for joining us, everybody. Have a wonderful afternoon. Bye-bye.